Hi folks, this is Steve here doing another video on SmartScore 64 NE Pro, a music digitization program by the good folks at Musitech. And as many of you know who have been following me, I've been doing some videos now and again to kind of help people understand how to take their PDFs of music and create digitization formats from them. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about using the nudge tool to good advantage. The nudge tool is activated by pressing the shift key, and I'm going to bring up some things that maybe you have noticed but maybe might not have noticed, particularly when we go to thinking about exporting the SmartScore output to an XML file. Okay, well, let's get started. Let's open up SmartScore. Okay, and let's go ahead and bring in a file. I think I got the one I wanted here in the downloads. So I go ahead and open the file, the PDF. First, of course, opens up the thresholding box. We're just going to say OK for now because we're not going to digitize the score completely. I just want to make some points about the nudge tool. Okay, so let's go ahead and recognize. We don't need to save the changes to the TIFF file because remember, SmartScore 64, after it opens a PDF, converts that PDF into a TIFF file. And you can change the darkness to accomplish perhaps better recognition. But for today's video, we don't need to save those changes. We're not going to bring in text. I'll go ahead and just import the whole thing for the purposes of our discussion. Let the recognition process do its thing. We don't need to unify any of these things for the purposes, once again, of this video. We don't need to save it, but normally, of course, you would save your SmartScore file. Now I want to talk about the nudge tool. So I'm just right now making it bigger, zooming it in on a Mac using the command and the mouse wheel. So here we can see the first system composed of 3 staves, clarinet 1, clarinet 2, and clarinet 3. And before we use the nudge tool, let's just go ahead and clean this up just as a refresher. Well, it added in what looks like to be a high, oh gosh, G there. So let's go ahead and hit the X button on the keyboard, delete it. So now it's out of the yellow. What's happened here? These are all supposed to be grace notes. So let's change them to 16th notes and then make them grace notes. The easiest way to do that is to use the press O to give us our selection. Select the notes we want to change. Either press 5 or click up here. Move the cursor with the 16th notes, not to green, but to yellow, right? Because green would add it to another voice. Yellow changes the value. And I must have moved my mouse. I hit a Control Z. There we go. So they're not beamed together. That's because on my Mac, I forget to add the automatic beaming in the tools section. Oh well. What I can do though is, since they're still selected with the O button pressed, I can just press B and beam them together. Now, of course, they're still not grace notes. So let's go back, press O, select those notes, open up the side menu over here, C off to the left, symbol selection, come up to the symbol selection. We need to collect, of course, that we're still in 16th notes, and we're going to make grace notes. Bring our mouse over because we now have selected to be put into the score 16th grace notes. Wait, get it nice and yellow. And there you go. Hit escape to exit. They're still not beamed. They unbeamed them. So click B. Select O, and then go ahead and just punch somewhere on the screen to make them not yellow. What's happened here is very difficult to know for sure, except that you can tell that it interpreted all of this as being different voices. There's not a great way to deal with this, but I'm going to go ahead and select X to delete, and I'm just going to delete the ones I don't want. Okay, add the ones I want. So I can hit Command on a Mac, move my mouse over the space, over the rest, with Command pressed, click, pick it up, put another one in place, go over here to grab my half rest, and click it in place. Okay? Well, that was just kind of a little bit of a side trip to the point I wanted to make about the nudge tool. So we can see here that in this bracketed system, we've got the first clarinet part, the piano, starts off at piano, piano, piano. But I want to show you something that you may not have noticed. This becomes very important when you export to a notation software system. So I'm going to go ahead, hit escape just to get my cursor back. I'm going to position my cursor over the first staff, and I'm going to press the shift button to enter nudge. Look what happened here. I want you to notice the piano was highlighted. I'm sorry, grayed out. Why? Because that piano is actually not associated in SmartScore to the first clarinet part. If we move down to the second staff, press shift, now we can see that the piano is in fact bolded. So this piano is associated with the second clarinet part. And that's not what you want. You want it associated with the first clarinet part. Because if you simply exported this as an XML file and opened it up, let's say in Dorico or Notion or some other software program, it would not be in the correct place. The piano would actually show up in the second clarinet part. So let's fix that. Here's how I would fix it. I would hold down my command button. I would click on the piano to pick it up. Okay? And you can see my cursor's turned to piano. That's, as you guys know, is the quick select tool that's so helpful in SmartScore. I would then press X, which allows me now to delete the selected element. I would then find and highlight the P, click it to make it go away. I would then hit C button, which then brings us back to the last selected notation type we're entering. I'm going to hit C now. The P comes back. I would go ahead, put the P in the staff, hit the shift button, which now ensures that I'm in this line, bring it down, and enter it. Did it work? Well, hit escape. I'm hitting escape. Position in the first staff. Yes. You see, in fact, that's exactly what happened. I was able to put the P where it needed to be. Oh, that rhymed. How about over here? That one's correct, you see? Move it down here. That one's correct. Okay? This happens quite a bit in SmartScore. So I just wanted to make that point. This is kind of the easy way to make sure that your dynamic markings are in fact associated with the correct staff. Okay. So what else do I want to make about the nudge mark, the nudge tool? Well, as you know, nudge is how you move notes around, up and down, like, this and that. But the other point I wanted to make is that SmartScore does not always make the slurs correspond correctly during an XML output. How do you know that that's correct? Position your cursor in the staff you want to check. Hit your nudge shift. Grab the end of the slur line, and you'll see the highlighted notes that are covered within that measure. Now you can go over here, click this one, and you can make sure by moving this, you see what I'm doing here? By moving the end, you can make sure that everything's appropriately selected. But you see, I got to move this one now, don't I? Now that all the notes are yellowed, I've got the shift button down, and I've got my clicker. I'm holding the click on the tail end of the slur until all the notes that I want are in fact highlighted. Release the click, release the shift bar, and we're good. Now what about here? We can do the same thing. Grab the tail end of the slur, bring it until the note, the A, is highlighted. Come over to this side, make sure that it's correct. Now I had to move it back, right? Okay. Then over here, you see it didn't pick up the first G sharp. Pull it over, and you can tell by pressing here that they're all selected. Okay? And so now, when in fact that is exported to a software program, notation software, the slurs should be correct and the dynamics correctly assigned. Okay, well, I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. I appreciate it, everybody. Bye.